morning and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Water and Power Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. This proceeding is being broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Board of Water and Power Commissioners, please say present for roll call. Commissioner NURIT KATZ. Present. President Richard KATZ.
Present.
Commissioner LEHRER. Vice President MCGRAW.
Present.
Commissioner PINDER. 3 board members, a quorum is present. Mr. President.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. There's a lot going on, and we want to get to it. Appreciate your being here and participating and keeping us on our toes. Why don't we start with any other comments, George? I know you wanted to make some pride comments, so.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much, Mr. President. NURIT and I were both present for the Los Angeles Pride Parade a few weeks ago, which was such a wonderful time to be with employees and supporters and members of the community, especially because it was happening at exactly the same time that protests and ICE raids and all these other horrible things were happening in the city. And it was such a story of contrasts and of resilience. And it was a very beautiful thing to be a part of. And I really enjoyed being with you both that day. And huge shout out to our Pride ERG and all the folks that came out to support. Of course, a bunch of queer folks, but also a tremendous amount of allies, kids, spouses. It was really wonderful to be there together. I have some prepared remarks that were meant to open Pride season around here, but instead are going to close it because of the changes we had in our meeting schedule. So I just want to say that, we're so proud up here on the dais to stand with our employees who identify as members of the LGBTQIA+ community and to create an environment here at DWP that's diverse, equitable, inclusive, and representative of all employees and of all the people in this incredible city. Speaking both as Vice President of the board and as someone who's navigated leadership in an LGBTQ position, I understand the difference it makes when inclusion isn't just a policy, it's a commitment that's reflected in everything that we do as an agency. And I mean, I truly believe my queerness is a superpower that helps me every day relate to people, connect to them, understand their differences, see those differences as strengths, not as weaknesses. I see that as an ethos that sort of echoes around this entire agency, starting from the very top with Janice, who's bringing a really unique perspective to the agency, all the way out into the field to folks that are stringing polls, reading meters, and doing the everyday work to keep our system up and running and keep our clients well served. At DWP, fostering a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is essential to who we are, and this month gave us an opportunity to reflect on how far we've come and also reminded us of our continued responsibility to create a workplace where every employee feels seen, safe, and supported. Speaking personally, I feel that this is sort of more important now than ever before when there are so many attacks on queer communities, especially our trans brothers and sisters, happening at the federal and state level around the country. We recognize that true equity means showing up, listening, acting with purpose. Our Cultural Heritage Month celebrations are a reminder of our commitment to inclusion and a recognition of the contributions of our employees, customers, and allies who make up this vibrant community. And of course, we're so proud of LADWP Pride, our official employee resource group for the community, whose advocacy and leadership continue to create lasting positive change within the department. Their work is essential and reflects the strength of our shared values, and I know it's been really well accepted across the agency. We had a bigger turnout, I think, than we even anticipated at the parade this year. And I want to highlight their involvement in company-wide events, including the Pride Month Lunch, Lunch and Learn with LA Civil Rights Department, featuring our community liaison for LGBTQ issues, Carla Ibarra. Their annual Pride Parade, which we've talked about, which we participated in for the 4th time. And for those who are allies, want to become an ally, want to get more involved, you can reach out to LADWP Pride to learn more. It's really important to lead with compassion toward the LGBTQ+ community, especially right now when they're so under fire like many others, and to treat others how you want to be treated. A simple but important golden rule. Everyone deserves to be empowered, respected, and supported, and I hope that that's something you've all experienced this Pride Month and all year long. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, George. Any other comments from commissioners? Thank you. We will thank George again. I appreciate the comments, the appropriateness, and also the comments were well received and I think reflective of our commission as well as the city. And watch pride grow and the pride, movement grow over the years, and it's very impressive. And it's a comment, and frankly, it's a tribute to not just gay and lesbian people, but to everyone else as well, because it's so integrated now into part of our society as it should have been in the beginning. So progress is never done, but it's nice when you can see it and feel it and measure it. So thank you for your comments. We're going to turn now to the agenda. How's that for novel? Public comment?
Public comment is open at this time. We do not have any public commenters. However, President KATZ, may I bring forward the grievance who are listed on agenda items N15, N16, and N17. They each have 5 minutes to make remarks before you all vote on these items.
Okay.
First speaker, may I ask Maneli Rashidin to step forward to the podium. You will have 5 minutes to speak. Is Ms. Rashidin present?
Just one moment. Yeah, please just stand at the podium right behind you. That'd be great. Thank you.
Sorry, go on, George.
All right, whenever you're ready, Ms. Rashidon.
Good morning. My name is Maneli Rashida, and I'm a utility microbiologist with Water Quality Division. This grievance concerned the unfair and inequitable treatment, harassment, and retaliation I received in 2023, carried out by my former supervisor, Pauline Nguyen, and Adolphe Felix. This action caused me not only emotional and physical harm, but also led to partial permanent disability, a condition I may have to live with for the rest of my life. The retaliation began in July 2021 and has continued despite my filing multiple grievances. Unfortunately, none of these grievances led to a meaningful resolution, and each time I had to return with some more severe cases. I'm sure the PRC members remember last time my supervisor and the senior management of water quality caused me a panic attack by secretly checking my personal belonging in 2022. And then in 2023, they caused me neck injury, led to partial permanent disability. While I respect the grievance process, I strongly believe that all the injuries and damages I sustained were completely preventable. Had my original grievances been taken seriously, and had the senior management of the Water Quality Division been held accountable for consistently providing falsified information to downplay and conceal the retaliation taking place within the division. For this specific grievance, the problem was in the first few months, specifically in January and February 2023, my supervisor actually assigned me for unusual high number of samples with the most labor-intensive task that we have. The task used to be like rotational, so we have 6 microbiologists, they were rotating to do the task. But then somehow she managed to assign me with the most number of samples. At the end of February, I actually processed 3 times more than the whole group combined. Like I processed 3 times more sample compared to the whole group combined. And I had, my supervisor was well aware that I had a back injury, a previous back injury. And then this type of scheduling, and I was constantly mentioning to her that I had pain, but despite that, she, and I brought that up in the staff meeting, but still she assigned me for that type of job. At the end of February, I saw my specialist, and he put me on work restriction. Still in the month of March, my supervisor scheduled me for the same task for the, instead of like assigning other people who everyone is trained for the same task, but she again scheduled me to the point that I had to take vacation to prevent my health, my back from being injured further. And then another thing is, another grievable matter is about my coworker, Adolph Felix, which has been like harassing us and making us suffer for a very long time. And then he sent an email to me. It was a very condescending language, and to the point that the senior management of water quality, they mentioned that they removed him from like a temporary supervisory position, but months after that, he was assigned to be in charge again. But then all the information that, it's very unfortunate that all the information that senior management provided to the PRC was falsified. I can, as an example, for example, they said I processed only 5 samples in January. I brought with myself all the...
Excuse me, Speaker, your time allotment has expired. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
I brought all the worksheets here, and it shows, I can count them for you. It shows that it's 11 samples. How come they are allowed to freely and openly, share falsified information? So I believe that the decision, unfortunately, was made on falsified information provided by water quality senior management. So I respectfully request that the grievance is sent back to the PRC for further investigation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. George may be able to speak in terms of final decision, but we did consider all the evidence you provided in great detail, and we have made the decision we feel is appropriate to the scope of the grievance process. That said, I do want to say that we're very sorry to hear of the challenges that you have been suffering, and we hope that whatever other processes you are going through with the department in terms of accommodation and working around your disability, that we wish you well in these processes. And unfortunately, I believe we are concluded with the grievance process.
Thank you. The one last thing is that, I cannot anticipate what kind of falsified information they are going to bring up each time. So from before, I cannot, ahead of time, I cannot bring documentation to show that this type of falsified information is wrong. So that's the case. Every time they get the chance to speak after me, and then I was not allowed to clarify the discrepancy. So
thank you for your comments today.
The next speaker is Timothy Lamb.
Is this for both of my grievances?
Yes, is your co-grievant going to speak as well?
No, he's up doing endless double shifts in Owens Valley.
Okay, yes, you can speak to both
Great place to
items
work for a
in
clear
16
person.
and
Not
in
really.
17. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to probably talk about 8-089-24. Involves working 8 before normal shift on a holiday or holiday equivalent. So, LEDWP management has put into writing that management has become aware of inconsistent type teaming practices of compensation for continuous shift employees who work overtime prior to their regularly scheduled shift on a holiday or holiday equivalent. I don't know how the LEDWP can, in good faith and conscience, put into writing that it's acceptable to pay one individual in the same class, same title, with same supervision and management, with the same DDR number, differently for the same work performed. Sounds like discrimination. And as to the other double time holiday pay plus 8 hours for continuous shift workers, I'm sure eventually there'll be a meet and confer and it'll all be worked out. Thank you. I could see the rest of my time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Public comment is closed at this time, Mr. President.
All right. We'll move through with the agenda. I would like to introduce, now that it's official, Tim O'Connor is our new ratepayer advocate, and he was approved by the city council and the mayor and everybody else over the last couple of weeks. We welcome him. We look forward to working with him, and we've had some good conversations, and he's got a background that I think will make him an excellent choice for ratepayer advocate. So, Tim, welcome. Now that you have a nameplate, it's official. But we're glad you're here and look forward to working with you. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, President KATZ. Hello, everyone. As the President said, my name is Tim O'Connor. I am joining here as the ratepayer advocate, head of the Office of Public Accountability, and look forward to working, obviously, with the board, with the members of the public, with the staff on reviewing items and making sure that the utilities, programs, policies, expenditures, rates are aligned with the ratepayer interest, and that they provide opportunities for all Angelenos, whether they be businesses, individuals from all economic strata and walks of life, to be able to afford their utility bills, to be able to understand that the work that the utility is doing is in the ratepayer interest, and to be able to understand how those actions both impact them and what they can do to both participate in the process as well as participate in the myriad of programs the utility has developed to be able to ensure people have access to affordability and equity across the city. So thank you.
Thank you. How are you staffing up? How's that going? How's that coming?
We're in the process of an open search for bringing on members of the team. We've identified candidates and are in the process of actively recruiting both those we've identified as well as other candidates from across both the city and in the general public that have the types of skills and expertise needed to do this job. So I think we're moving expeditiously and optimistic we'll have some additional staff on board within 6 to 8 weeks.
That's great. No, it's exciting. You've got a tough act to follow. Dr. Pickrell was a good advocate and a unique individual with a lot of knowledge and talent, and based on what I've read about you, you're more than up to the task. So, as a ratepayer advocate and also as, frankly, someone who provides a check and balance on the department, your job is critical to our job. And so we look forward to hopefully agreeing all the time, but if not, at least it'll be in the spirit of trying to do what's right for the ratepayer. So,
thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And Dr. Pickle has provided some continuous insight and support as he's transitioned out of this role, in addition to the other members of the office. And so we've been in active discussion as we transition the leadership and the roles of the office to myself.
Great. And you got a copy of the PowerPoint you put together at the end?
I did, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's a good roadmap in there.
Indeed.
It's done and a lot to still do.
Yes. I have a copy of many of the PowerPoints he's delivered over the years.
Lots of homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you. Well, any questions, holler, whatever we can do to help you get up to speed as fast as possible. We're happy to do. The department will do, as well as the commission. So we look forward to a good working relationship and a benefit to the ratepayers of Los Angeles.
Yes, thank you. The members of the utility have already been very welcoming in terms of offering to provide both high-level and in-depth reviews of operations and the programs going forward, the proposals that'll be before the board over the course of the next year and ongoing. And so I plan to take them up on that, especially as we continue to staff up this team to be able to make sure we're providing insights that are grounded in reality and what the department's actually doing.
Great. Well, anything we can do to help you, let us know, and good luck.
Thank you, President.
Okay. Other comments, board members? Janice, it's up to you now.
Yeah, good morning, and Tim, welcome. We're really excited to have you. We had a great relationship with Dr. Pickle, and I'm hopeful for the same with you. We have a lot of work coming for us, and our relationship and looking at based on reality is so critical for the work to come. So thank you for being here. Welcome. I'm going to pass it up to Dave to give us an update on power. Then I'll pass it to Anselmo for water. And then I'll pass it to Joe for customer. And then I'll have some remarks at the end. So, Dave.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. Good morning. So just wanted to let the board know what's going on in the Palisades. We have shut down the Palisades Recreation Center so that the Army Corps of Engineers can do the demolition on one of the facilities there. We were able to work through the previous weekend to start our relocation. So we have moved what we've been calling the UROC, the Unified Utility Recovery Operations Center, or rebuild. Rebuild Operations Center. We've moved that to 3931 South Topanga Canyon Boulevard. It's open Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., obviously subject to change, but it's the same service that we were offering at the rec center. We're just doing it down at the Topanga site now. We'll continue to offer that direct access for DWP services to those that were affected by the fire. They're available to talk about water and power service, electric service repair and replacement, electrical panel upgrades. One of the methods that we've been using for community engagement has been our evening meetings with various representatives from the Palisades, the mayor's office, council district, Tracy Park. So we have a meeting with the Park Advisory Board tonight, and then that will be the last time that we do these individual meetings. We're going to start doing one monthly outreach with the community starting on July 2nd. That's in coordination with the council district and the mayor's office. It's more of a show and tell for the community so we can really start to make sure that the community understands when we say 100% undergrounding, what does that mean? What's it look like? What is the equipment? There is still going to be things that have to be above ground, and we want everybody to understand that. So we're going to do some show and tell and some artist renderings, and we'll do that on a monthly basis.
Dave, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think one of the great misconceptions that's out there, and most people believe, is that when we say we're undergrounding, that there will be no more poles. And people will be surprised to find out, first, how many things are on those poles to start with, including cable TV, including fiber optics, and all sorts of stuff. So I think being proactive, like you're talking about, to say, look, we are undergrounding because that's the safest, smartest thing to do, but it doesn't mean no poles, because they serve other purposes. So
that's correct. Thank you for making that comment. A very quick way to upset a lineman is to call a power pole a telephone pole. I think I have one or two linemen in the audience, right, Brian? So we have power poles out there now that just happen to occupy telecom on them at a much lower level. If we were to abandon those power poles and cut the top part of it off, it now becomes a telephone pole, and we would turn that over to the telecom companies. That is not the direction that we want to go, and we're working well with the county and the governor's office on 100% undergrounding, and the telecom companies are getting on board with that. So we're excited about what it's going to look like, and we want to make sure that the community completely understands when we walk away what everything will look like.
how far have you gotten on the underground? You're trenching now.
We're trenching down the main Sunset, so we call that like our no regrets main trunk line area. So we have our 12 kV and our 34.5 voltage systems are going in on Sunset. We've pulled in just a little over 3 miles at this point, conduit and substructures. We haven't branched off into the neighborhoods yet. We think we have probably about 18 months before that happens. We're just concentrating our efforts down Sunset right now.
In addition to the wire underground, what else is going underground? Are any of the substations, et cetera, all the technical stuff going underground also?
Yeah, good question. So the DS29 is our main substation right there on Sunset. We're going to be expanding the size of that substation to account for the fact that we no longer now need DS104, which we've been trying to build for 20 or 30 years. The additional voltage, 12,000 volt distribution voltage that we're going to be adding to our system, I think a few years ago we started talking about it as a voltage conversion, but that would end up being the never-ending project that would never end. So hence the name. So we're just going to add the 12 kV system onto the poles between the 5 kV and the 34.5. So this is a perfect area for us to implement that. It will cause an increase to the size of DS29, but we don't have to build DS104 anymore. So no substations are underground at this point. We did propose that with Councilwoman Tracy Park at the DS104 facility. So we're still in talks about it, but right now we don't see a need to do that.
And 104 was something you've been working on for years.
That's right. It's the Marquez Elementary School adjacent property. So I think we just got focused in on that, and the community got focused in on resisting it, and it just kind of sat that way for almost 2 decades. Once we started moving forward with recovery very quickly, we started mobilizing on that property and realized that the community was very upset about that. So we pulled back, went back to the drawing board, and our engineering team came up with our 12 kV system that we were going to pilot in the valley. We decided to implement it in the Palisades, which then got rid of the need for DS104, so everyone wins.
Good.
We're happy about it. And we'll be discussing that in detail on July 2nd.
Thank you.
And one other item that we're super excited about in the power system, our new business process refinement. We're going to be bringing on some new employees that will be the single point of contact for new business customers as they apply for their interconnection and they start to go through the design and the construction and the handoff. From beginning to end of the project, they will have one single point of contact that will be a new business employee. They're going to deal with the various construction groups and the resources that actually build and construct and inspect, and then they will be the single point that conveys that information to the customer. Right now, there's about 15 different handoffs that we just kind of tell the customer to call the next person. We're going to be getting rid of that and have single point of contact. So we're super excited about that.
White glove concierge service in the power system.
Funny that you see. That's what we've been calling it, is concierge.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely tailor down the email volume we get at the commission level for those requests. So that'll be
Except
very
from the rest of the city who will want to know why Palisades gets concierge service. And
No, this is for everybody.
It's everywhere, system-wide.
Dave, what's the timeline?
So we're working on getting that application out for the employees as of this week. We're hoping to have it by tomorrow. We'd like to have these employees hired and this whole thing in place by the end of July. So in August, we could be shaking out the bugs on the new process and be up and running.
What's the head count? Is it an existing classification or a new one? And about how many customers do you anticipate a single customer service representative holding through a process like that?
That's, let me get back to you on the amount of customers, but I can tell you from our 7 service areas that we use for our transmission and distribution folks, we're looking at bringing on 14 utility, what's USS? I forgot what it stands for, utility service specialists. Thank you. My shipmates. So the USS employees will come on. We want to have 2 per area. We're going to start with 7 and then bring on 7 more. The idea is to have them take care of a specific area. So for projects that come in that are covered by the Palms or the Central or the West LA district, then we would have 1 to 2 USSs assigned for that area that then feed information to the engineer that's also assigned for the same area.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you on the headcount.
And if we need to expand, we'll expand the headcount. But this is one of many initiatives we have to improve the new business process. There's about 19 initiatives that we are undertaking. That includes drafting, includes new crews, includes a lot of other things that we're working on. But this is going to be ideal for customers to know who to call. Because right now it's just a guess who they're going to call based on where the project is.
And remind me, Dave, this is something we've already been doing to a certain degree inside Project Powerhouse or inside our
I'm not aware
project.
that we have actually implemented a single point of contact anywhere. Let me get back to you on the Project Powerhouse, but I know the intent overall is to have a dashboard, public facing, like so that a customer or a developer can access this thing and see exactly where their project is in the queue.
Domino's Pizza Tracker.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
The Amazon world that we live in.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we will be interested in knowing how that'll apply to, Executive Order 1 and Project Powerhouse projects 2, how those will get routed through that system, if there'll be a separate point of contact or the same, if they're being treated as new business or not.
Okay, very good. I'll get
Make
back
sure
to
they
you on that.
benefit from that streamlining.
All right.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
All right, water. And Selma.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Couple of things I wanted to report on. The first one is the Sunny Nest Reservoir. I'm happy to report that we have filled the reservoir to the point that we wanted to get to, which is around 45 million gallons of water. Today, we put in the final touches, and the expectation is that we'll put it back in service tomorrow. We do need to make system adjustments to be able to put the reservoir in service, so the goal is to do that tomorrow. So
The cover's solid now, and
the cover has been repaired significantly. In addition to the work that was done by the contractor, my staff also did a lot of repair work, a lot of pinholes that were found. At some point, we actually even had to put divers in there to be able to see the pinholes from inside the reservoir. It was a lot easier to find them that way. So we fixed all of those. There's one hose that we are fixing today, and the plan is to put the reservoir in service tomorrow. So a lot of work, a lot of effort by a lot of people to get this operational.
well done. Thank you. Great news.
Absolutely.
And Anselmo, our engineering team is also looking at a permanent solution for this cover as well, right?
Yes, so we're looking at a couple of different options. Most likely what we're going to be proposing is that we replace the existing cover with a new floating cover because we can get it done fast. But the expectation is, as a long-term permanent solution, we're going to look at a combination of things. One, it could be putting a hard cover on the reservoir. Two, it could be building treatment as the water leaves. So uncover the reservoir and build a treatment facility. The other option would be to build storage tanks. So my planning team right now is looking at all those different options, and they're going to come to me with a recommendation. But I think it's going to be a two-step approach. We will do one, the first step is more of a short-term solution, and then replace it with something that would have more longevity when it comes to the life of the asset. So that's what we're looking at doing right now. The staff is working on it as we speak.
Do we have any other reservoirs in service that are having similar cover issues that would benefit from a similar analysis?
We have other reservoirs in the system that have covers. All of them at some point we've had to repair, nothing like what we're seeing here with Sunny Nest, but certainly we are going to look at all of them. We're going to probably start with Sunny Nest because it's the one that has the biggest need. But certainly there is another 4 reservoirs that have covers. So all of them we're going to look at and evaluate if that is the best solution moving forward.
Okay.
I understand at some point, we've been approached by folks who want to put solar panels on tops of some of our reservoirs. Is that practical?
Well, not if the reservoirs for drinking purposes. So yes, there is an effort to do a pilot study to put floating solar panels on the Encino Reservoir. Now, Encino Reservoir is no longer connected to our distribution system, but it's there for aerial firefighting. So there's an area of the reservoir that's been identified to put floating solar panels. The challenge with solar panels is that means it gives a surface for birds to land, and unfortunately they can contaminate the water. So using that in a drinking water reservoir would not be ideal. also that means we will not be complying with the surface water treatment rule, which means that we need to 100% cover the surface of the water so that nothing from the elements can get into the actual water itself. But we are looking at it at Encino as a pilot.
A firefighting reservoir would be
Exactly.
different standards.
Exactly. So we are looking at that.
Great.
So.
Thanks, Anselmo.
Sure. The second item that I want to report on is over the weekend on Saturday, we had the Chatsworth Nature Preserve Open House. We call this one the Summer Solstice event. Typically, the event is done in April, and because of the fires and staff that was very busy addressing the issue of the system, we moved it to this past weekend. It was a great event. It was attended by over 1,000 people from the community. In addition to the community, we also had Councilmember John Lee there. Our Commissioner NURIT KATZ was there as well. And we had several members from some of the local tribes, the Chumash, the Fernandeño Tatavian Band of Mission Indians, the San Ynez Band of Mission Indians, Southern Paiute, the Yaqui, and the Tepehuan tribes. It was a really good event. We do this twice a year. We do it for Earth Day, and then we also do it for winter solstice. So now we're going to start preparing for the winter solstice event. I think it's a great community event. Every single time we do it, we hear a lot of positive comments by the community. It gives them a chance to walk around the facility and see the biodiversity that's been created in this nature preserve, which, as you know, is the only nature preserve in the city of Los Angeles. So we're looking forward to the next event. And thank you, Commissioner, for being there as well.
NURIT, thank you for going. I couldn't make it. I know NURIT was there, I think.
I wasn't.
But it's a great event. I mean, I've been in the past. But people forget, all the tribes you mentioned at one point were in the San Fernando Valley and parts of LA. People don't think about Los Angeles in those terms.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
in terms of the first residents, that was them. But it's a great community event, and I'm glad that we opened up the reservoir for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. It really was a beautiful day. I want to thank your staff who did a fantastic job organizing, but it wasn't just water, there was also power there. I heard feedback from community members about our high voltage team that does the demonstrations around safety with the lines. Fantastic work. And all the staff who were out there tabling all day and helped to organize and make it happen and drive shuttles and all of it. So it really was very valuable for our community, and it's always a special day to be out there at Chatsworth. So thank you both for your updates. I know we're not totally done, but I figured I'll chime in at that point. Really good to hear the progress on both the power and water side, and definitely echo Commissioner McGraw's comments about Pride as well. That was a very inspiring and much needed day. So thank you all. And welcome, Tim, to our new ratepayer advocate. We really look forward to working with you, and very excited to have your leadership. These were tough shoes to fill and a really long search, and we're just so grateful to have you on board.
Very good. And then the last item that I'm going to report on is on Owens Lake. You probably saw in the LA Times 5 days ago, there was an article about Owens Lake. And what that was about is there is the Owens Lake Science Advisory Panel, or what we call the OLSAP. The OLSAP is a subcommittee of the National Academy of Sciences. They were tasked with evaluating the nature and the origin of off-select sources of dust, which means anything that's 10 microns or less. An off-lake meaning that is above the elevation of 3,600 feet. The reason why that's important is because that's the boundary for the responsibility that LADWP has when it comes to dust control at Owens Lake. I'm happy to report that the report that was put together by the OLSAP basically says that most of the dust that they're seeing now in the Owens Valley is coming from those off-lake sources, that the work that we've been doing for the last 25 years at Owens Lake is making a huge difference. I can tell you that last week I was up there, it was kind of windy, and I didn't see any dust coming from the lake, but you could see dust coming from other areas. So that was kind of an eyewitness testimony to that. The wind was probably 40 miles an hour, and I couldn't see any dust coming from the lake. So this particular task that the OLSAP was given was done so by Great Basin Unified Air Pollution Control District, and we participated as well as a co-sponsor. The panel itself is composed of experts. There were 10 technical experts here in a variety of fields, and they completed the report back on June 11th, and it was released on the 17th. And some of the conclusions from the report were that the off-lake sources currently contribute the majority of the exceedances of the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for PM10. Also, it says that the EPA's exceptional events rule can be applied to natural off-lake sources. What does that mean? The exceptional events rule is an exception you can have when you have these wind events. If it's over 25 miles an hour, they can say, we're not going to count that because you had an exceptionally windy day. And that can be applied to the areas that are outside of the lake itself. So we're hoping that that'll be something that will be considered, because we believe that the lake now is actually being controlled, the dust.
Yep.
And the other areas are outside of our jurisdiction. The report also did not mention DWP as a responsible party for the majority of the human influence off lake sources. They are instead attributed to Caltrans roads, surface flow diversion structures, and off-highway vehicles that take place in the BLM lands. Their recommendation is also that additional studies should be conducted to be able to really understand better all the sources and the way to best control it. So to us, that was really good news, because this is an independent party that's looking at this and giving us the recognition for the great job that the men and women in water operations are doing in controlling dust out there. Like I said, this is a 25-year endeavor. We've invested over $2.6 billion in this, and it's good to see the results that we're seeing right now. And that's the end of my report.
Not yet.
One more.
Yes. So yesterday, Anselmo and Commissioner KATZ and I went to the Donald Tillman groundwater replenishment project, and we were celebrating the 10% completion of the construction. This project has been on the works for 2 years now and has 2 more years before it opens the doors in December of 2027. And it's very impressive to see the collaboration between LADWP, LA Sanitation, and Jacobs as our partner. Very impressive, the culture of the project and just the pride that the team has, and that goes to Ryan and Jesus on doing this project and taking that kind of ownership and pride. So I just want you to mention what we saw and how happy we are that we're making such a great progress.
Progress,
Yes.
absolutely. So the event was really, we didn't have an opportunity to do a groundbreaking because when the construction started was during the Palisades fire. Yeah. But the team has been working very diligently there. They're making great progress. This is a project that is very important to us. We see this as a footprint or the template that we're going to use to develop other water reuse projects. This project is, right now, we're looking at producing around 25 million gallons of advanced treated recycled water that's going to be used for recharge the San Fernando Basin. So that's enough for around 250,000 customers here in the city of Los Angeles.
5 million over what period of time?
25 million gallons per day.
Per day.
Yeah, so on a daily basis, it'll produce 25 million gallons. And all that water will be used to recharge the San Fernando Basin. It's going to go from the Donald C. Tillman plant. We're going to pump it over to the Hansen spreading grounds and recharge the San Fernando Basin. It's been a great collaborative process. Like Janice said, the coordination and I think just everybody's on the same page between LA San, LADWP, and our consultant Jacobs. It's actually, I think, something to be very proud of. Right now, they're working on doing the work for the foundation as far as the excavation. We are going to be coming to the board at some point in the future. We believe that we have an opportunity to even expand even further the capacity. And I think that that will be something that you would like to hear about and hopefully support, that would allow us to be able to increase significantly the amount of water that we can produce there. We're still working on some of the details, but the team is very excited about that opportunity as well.
Romulo told me his team was going to go out, and we'll go out with them and help you dig that deeper part of the.
Joe's going to dig personally? Oh, I got to see that.
You know how I spent my weekend. We are really excited about that additional potential capacity and excited to hear more about what that $10 million change order to do that additional excavation can buy us in terms of expanding the treatment train and producing more significant output, helping more water stay in the valley. Janice was kind enough to brief us on that this morning. I think it's going to be really helpful for us all to understand sort of relative to the cost of the overall project, what the benefit is in terms of additional MGD that we can produce per dollar, which I understand is going to be, in terms of scale, much cheaper than the MGD we're getting right now of the project, because
It's almost
on
double
existing-
the capacity, I
Exactly.
believe. Yeah, so
In fact,
quite,
you're just digging a deeper hole as opposed to having to site a new facility somewhere.
exactly.
The timing is very important. As you will see when we bring this item to this board for consideration, if we were to wait and decide to do it later, after we're done, the cost is almost double. We have an opportunity now to do it. Basically, and as you alluded to, Board President, what we're doing is making the basement bigger to allow us to be able to fit additional treatment trains in the same footprint as the original design. And also, we can get the work done within the same time frame, which means that we will be completing the project by 2027, which I think must be a record time when it comes to building a facility of this scale. So
You can say it was a record time in 2027. Let's get there first.
yes,
And then we'll see how it
Joe's just
went.
got to dig faster.
Joe's got to dig faster. You better get to it now.
That's exciting. Thank you. I'm also really excited to hear about the, offsite sources of, ambient air quality pollution. I think, obviously after that multi-billion-dollar 25-year investment, we're all really anxious to get to a place where attainment is recognized by a regulator there. I think, we're meaningfully in compliance with almost every attainment criterion that we've been assigned, and have had trouble getting our, air quality, air pollution control district to agree with us that we're in attainment. I know this was a really big step toward, clarifying what some of those off-lake sources might be, that were sort of part of the contention that we weren't within attainment. So I very much hope that we can use that momentum to move that conversation forward and get attainment recognition, where it's due. I mean, the men and women of DWP and all the other sort of federal and local agencies that are involved in the massive Owens Lake project do deserve the recognition of all the hard work they've done, and they do deserve to, have that recognition in the form of attainment. So I am really encouraged by that, and I very much hope that provides some momentum in that discussion.
Thank you.
One PS I'll add on to that. You mentioned the pipeline that goes from Tillman to the Hanson Spreading Grounds.
Yes.
That pipeline, if I remember correctly, but because it was a couple days ago, was part of a 1994 Assembly bill that was designed to offset the water LA wasn't taking from Mona Lake as under the decision in 94.
Yes.
So it took a couple of days, but I'm really pleased to see that, that is being used. It's been used, but under this new configuration, it becomes even more significant. So.
Correct. Yeah, this pipeline's been in the ground for quite a while.
Yep.
That's when we ran into the term toilet to tap, and it kind of put all our recycled water projects on hold for quite a while. But it's an asset that we have, and we're going to be utilizing it to move now this new source of water, so we're pretty excited about that. It's a great way to leverage assets that we already own. We potentially may be putting additional pipelines to move that water even to other locations as well. Hanson is the first drop-off spot, but we do have plans for other areas as well.
That's great. That's great. All right. Anything else, Ensemble?
That's it. Thank you.
Janice?
You wanted to say something?
Just wanted to echo, Commissioner McGraw already said this, but, as someone who grew up in the San Fernando Valley and is close to the basin, this project is exciting from a national perspective, but it's, very exciting for the community as well. I'm not only excited about the water that will be produced, but also the learning center that will be created and the opportunity to engage community members in learning about sustainability, resilience, how to create a better water future for Los Angeles. So it was a really inspiring day to be out there yesterday, and thank you to the team.
And then I'll pass it to Joe for customer service updates.
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to provide you with an update today on our billing of customers in the Pacific Palisades for the customers that remained there following the fire in January. Our focus has largely been, and you've heard a lot about the electric rebuild there and the restoration of water quality. At the same time, we were tracking these accounts and closing them either at the customer request as well as from the county reports on the destruction. After looking at all of those assessments, the county report, our own customer reports, it actually ended up with about half of the customers there closing their accounts due to their properties being destroyed. When those customers, if they choose to rebuild, they will reestablish their accounts. Those customers moving forward will receive no further bill from us for anything that occurred after they were last billed. We last billed the Palisades area in the last week of December and first week of January, just before the fire. It was just completely coincidental. If people owed us anything before, those bills would remain, but anything since, anybody whose property has been destroyed will receive no further bill from us or from LA San, our partner, who we do billing on behalf of. However, there are customers that remain, about half of them, and I should just note the number for you. There's about almost 20,000 water and electric meters in the Palisades, and about half of those were destroyed during the fire. We are planning right now, together with Power System, who has the meter services and field operations crews, to resume meter reading for the customers that remain in the Palisades. These are either properties that have not been closed and had some damage, or that were not damaged. While we were preparing to resume billing, we did identify that the meter boxes at every property, destroyed and remaining, for customers who are there, need environmental remediation, and that's going to take some time. So when we do that, we go to resume billing, we were looking toward the end of this month, but in fact, we're going to push that forward for, yes?
Victor, just back up for 1 second, because we told everyone, and because of all the cleanup that was done, that we had taken and removed and neutralized everything that was in the Palisades.
Correct.
What you're talking about is what gathered, it was trapped inside the boxes?
Correct.
Okay.
There's dust and debris that's gathered inside or near the meter boxes that before our meter crews go out to read the meters needs to be cleaned up. HEPA filters need to be used. They need to go through, according to our corporate health and safety, a process of decontamination, vacuuming them with HEPA filters and containing it before they can touch the meters.
Now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if somebody sees that out in their neighborhood, they don't get worried.
Right. And we're going to, we shared this information yesterday before the Council Ad Hoc Committee on Palisades Rebuild, and we're going to do some community outreach as well to make sure people know and understand why those crews are there when they're deployed. We also, I should back up just a moment, we notified all customers in February that we were pausing billing for all customers in the Palisades, and we have not resumed billing yet. We're now going through this process of how do we read the meters. The electric meters are intact, they can be read. However, our billing system is such that we can only bill for these commodities together, and we do not want to send out estimated bills for all of this water use. So in consulting with the city attorney, as well as with our own staff here, the path forward looks like the following. We are not going to bill for water use in the Palisades from the last billing date in January until we are able to read the meters again. For commercial customers, we plan on reading those meters, if all goes according to plan, at the end of July, and for residential customers at the end of August. That's going to give us time to do this remediation on the water meters. For the electric service, we are going to bill for all customers who continue to have service there from the last meter read date, because that reflects usage. We know that when people were fleeing for their lives, evacuating, leaving water on to potentially save property, other leaks that developed, that we would have ended up, if we tried to bill for this water, with tremendous number of bill disputes. We also know that we don't want to estimate these bills because the estimation would be based on a year ago and not reflect anything like the last 6 to 8 months. So after consulting with legal, we think the best approach is to not bill for the water, to bill for the electric, and to provide very significant opportunities for our customers to sign up for extended payment plans. We're going to suspend the collections process for the rest of the year for the Palisades to let people get time to catch up. We also will let them know that they can make payments now if they are able to. Based upon that, I should mention too that we one of the driving factors here is that we, in our legal settlement with the billing problems that we had in 2013, agreed to a 180-day billing period that we can go back and back bill someone for. So that is influencing the water issue that I'm talking about. And on the power side, there will be essentially a prorated bill on the power side, because by the time we're able to read those meters and bill them, it will have been longer than 180 days. So they're going to get essentially a reduced power bill for this period of time and no water bill. We're working with LA San as well on their charges, and we'll apply any credits or adjustments that they need on their end, either on the front end or they'll handle them on the back end. There's a lot of moving parts. I will tell you that Oracle is engaged with our team, with IT, with customer service on the billing portion, and then corporate health and safety is working with power system, meter services, and field crews on the meter reading part. But that's where we stand today.
So just to provide some clarification for me, Joe, so in terms of water, we're not going to resume billing for commercial customers until the end of July, residential customers going forward. But in the meantime, from the day of the fire until now, bills haven't been accruing. We're not going to back charge for any of that.
For water.
For water. For power, we're going to resume billing at about the same time in August, but we will be, reading the meters for the actual power use between then and now and charging for that.
Correct. Those are essentially delayed bills on the power side.
Right.
But they're going to be prorated because we can't go back. We wouldn't necessarily be able to go back the full beyond 180 days.
Understood, because of the settlement in 2013 related to CCB.
Joe, do you want to talk about the $50 credit for flushing the pipelines?
Yes, because there won't be water bills, the $50 credit that we'd previously announced would not apply to anyone in the Palisades zip code. But for the customers who lived outside of that zip code that were adjacent, there were a relatively small number, they will get the $50 credit.
That was the water quality credit when we were trying to flush the system to remove the contamination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember, I think Janice and I were both using the 5,000 number for the amount of plastic pipes that were either burned off, broken off, or had to be recapped
The valves, yeah.
by all of our, the women and men.
That is approximately the number of destroyed properties and meters that have been removed from the system.
And you had water pouring out of some of those.
Yes.
That was
Bleeding off the
impossible.
system.
Right. So this is how we're dealing with it, and on the system going forward. The meters that we'll be replacing, are we replacing them with state-of-the-art meters, or are we going to replace them with something similar to what was there before?
So we're not replacing meters, we're just cleaning the meter boxes.
Okay.
We are working with the Water Research Foundations and others to figure out what's the best solution for state-of-the-art meters, especially AMI meters, AMI-enabled
Right.
meters for the water system. There's really no clear solution yet, technology-wise, but we're working with the Water Research Foundation. Do you want to add more to this?
There we go. Yes, so we are looking at potentially having AMI meters. There are some challenges that we have that we need to get over. One of them, it has to do with battery life. That's a big concern. I actually was at the Water Research Foundation board meeting recently, talking to some of my counterparts that have AMIs in their system, and the biggest challenge is the battery life. One particular agency, a large West Coast agency, said that they basically replace 15% of the meters every single year.
Oh.
Yeah, that's quite significant. So if you were to translate that into the Department of Water and Power, you're talking about 100,000 meters that we would have to replace every single year because of the issue with the battery, because you can't just replace the battery, it's the entire device. However, we know that there's always new technology and emerging technologies, so we're looking and we're working with whoever has a product that has a longer battery life. We see the benefit in knowing exactly how much water our customers are consuming. They see the benefit, especially when we are in a drought and we're asking to conserve. It gives them the information immediately to take action. So we are looking at that. Water Research Foundation is going to be flying out here in July. So I have a meeting set up with them so that we can work not only on this, we have other things that we're working with them on as well, all in support of the Palisades fire and the lessons that we can learn and share with the rest of the industry.
Yeah, the other concern we have is the amount of plastic on the current AMI meters that would have melted during the fires. So we're trying to figure out if we can come up with if we can come up with a meter solution that's not plastic. So there's a lot of work going from a technical perspective on that. On the meter boxes, though, this is a solely an employee safety issue, right? So we don't want to expose our employees to the contaminants on the meter boxes, and that's why we're taking the extra precaution of cleaning the boxes before we expose our employees, our meter readers to that. So it's not really a community concern, much more employee safety concern.
Joe, can you clarify one more thing for me? So for customers, both commercial and residential, who had billing in arrears and potentially were in collections or headed to collections before the fire, have those collections processes since been stopped? And will they be restarted, or are they also going to be subject to this collections moratorium?
All of that has been stopped, and we'll continue that moratorium through the end of the year.
Okay.
We would obviously encourage those customers to make payments and get caught up, but we're not going to distinguish one from the other. The other thing I would mention is there's one additional type of customer, and that's the solar customers. And solar customers who had credits on their accounts. There were 432 solar customers whose homes were destroyed or partially destroyed. Those customers will be, if they rebuild in the Palisades, will be allowed to use those credits. We cannot convert them to cash, and we cannot allow them to be moved from that property to another property in the city due to some legal constraints with our rates. But those are customers we're paying attention to, and we'll be communicating with them. We're also going to communicate in writing to all customers on the Palisades once we have confirmation that we will, in fact, have the meter boxes completely cleaned in time and the billing solution in place to resume at the end of July for commercial and the end of August for residential.
Are those credits transferable if someone sells their property?
I don't believe they are.
Under the rate ordinance, I don't think they are.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to encourage our customers to visit the URUC if they have any billing concerns as we start billing in the Palisades. So you'll have a one-on-one experience if you go to the URUC and you have questions.
Yeah, come see our new digs in Topanga.
Yes. All right, thanks, guys. I want to do an update on Workday. As you guys know, last board meeting, we talked about going live on Workday. We went live on June 16, and it's going well. I'd like to invite Norma and Tracy to the podium just to, recognize them with Ann on their leadership as executive sponsors of this project, but also if you have any technical questions, come to the podium. We can answer that. But let me just say the adoption of the Workday system marks a major milestone in our modernization of our internal systems and improving the way that our employees interact with timekeeping, payroll, and human resources operations. This transition has been on the works for almost 4 years for the department, and it has become one of the most collaborative and team efforts on the department involving, as you can see, human resources, IT, financing organizations, but really all employees. It is all about change management and making sure that our employees are ready to take on a new system. It was a very strong paper-based process with several systems working not collaborative. Now we have one central single source of truth for our HR, payroll, and human resources system. I want to thank everybody, not just our sponsors, but really our employees on taking on this challenge on change management and being open to a transition into a new digital system. Right now, from the first week of Go Live, as of last Friday, we had 76, let me put my eyes on, I can't see. Number of unique logins, we had 76% of our population, about almost 9,000 employees have logged in as of last Friday. 86% of those users spend at least 20 minutes in Workday, and 41% of employees have entered and approved time, and 40% of the tickets have been closed, and we have about 1,000 ITSR tickets since we go live. Overall, the first week focused on making sure that employees and timekeepers enter time daily and that their managers approve timely. From a project management perspective, the focus was on timely response to troubleshooting via the ticket system, as well as training and coaching via office hours. So I want to invite you ladies to talk about the hypercare and how is that going and what have been some of the issues that have been brought forward, and what are you asking our employees to do so that we have a successful payroll by July 1st.
If you prefer to sit so you can both have a microphone, you're welcome to. You don't have to stand.
Or just talk.
Thank you for the invitation. It has a very, very strong team building experience. Like every platform release is a team building experience. So far, what we're asking all employees is to please enter your time and also managers to approve the time. There is a little quirk in the system, which is you can enter your time and people sometimes enter different hours to different codes because they charge time to different projects. Because of that, when you enter your time, the system saves your time, but then you need to submit it when you are done putting all your hours. Sometimes people put some hours and they go ahead, they do their everyday stuff, they come back and they put more hours. That's why you need to submit, because the system gives you some time to make modifications or enter more hours or whatever needs to be done before it's submitted. So enter your time, everybody, submit it, please, and then the manager has to approve. If the manager doesn't approve, then the time is not accounted to go to payroll. So those are the most important asks, I will say. Like in every system migration, data is a very important component and is the most important component, data. So if you see that the data is wrong, please let us know. Anything that is an error we need to fix is good news for us, because then we have visibility to the work we need to do. So please do let us know. Tracy, you want to add?
Yeah, I'd say the only other thing that we continue to work on is to make sure that the org structure is accurate and that it reflects the appropriate organization, which is anticipated and to be expected with the ongoing changes. I think it's fair to say there's lots of continued nerves, and we're kind of going through it day to day. But to the point earlier made, I think when you go, if you want to hear a buzz, go to the 6th floor and the buzz. It's just fantastic to see people in real time learning, asking questions. You invite 10, 15 UAs to a meeting and 100 people show up because they want to make sure that they have the latest. And so that's very exciting. It's very exciting just to see the camaraderie and the collegial efforts that's going on. Very, very much fun.
If you're in GFB, the A floor has several tables with people helping live, I think from 11 to 1, so at lunchtime when people go to grab lunch. I just was there and I saw them sitting there helping people, so remember that. And all these, right now we're having a little bit of delay on the time entry, but this is not the system, it's a cultural issue that we have. I've been here 5 months, and always at the end of the payroll, we have all the UAs asking people, please enter your time, enter your time. Everybody enter their time to the very last minute, which is interesting because it's what makes you get paid. So we all should enter our time timely because that's how we get our paychecks. So I think we are also trying to change a culture that has been around for a long time.
Ann?
Yeah. We are working through it. We're monitoring daily, seeing the statistics. We're sending people out to the field, to the other locations. So if they need help, our organizational change management team is going out there. But it's a team effort. People are doing their part, and we're meeting every day to make sure we find all the issues that need to get resolved. And our administrative leads they're doing a great job in helping us coordinate all that work.
So I just want to first thank you, ladies, your leadership and the way that you guys finish each other's sentences and work as a team, role models, the behaviors that we want to see across the organization. So really thank you to the three of you. Thank you to the teams that have been working tirelessly to get Workday through. It hasn't been easy the last several months, including our UA5s on the system. They've been really pummeled with the organization changes. So I want to acknowledge them too. And to our coworkers, thank you for being open to the change. It's the beginning of many systems that we have to upgrade throughout the department. We have a lot of technical debt that we're working on and prioritizing, and this is a big step for us. So thanks. And then I want to bring Soraya forward and talk about emergency management updates. I'll give you a brief update and let her. Is she there or no? Yeah.
Just real quick before we transition off of
Workday.
I almost said payday, but that's coming up. Payday is coming up on the 8th, and so my understanding is that you said about 80% of employees have logged into the system so far.
As of last Friday.
Of last Friday, it was like 76 or something, so probably around 80. And then, it's a much smaller number of people who have actually registered hours so far. So now we'll be encouraging people to make sure their hours are properly logged before the before the next payroll runs, because that's the real moment of truth, right? When this thing actually runs for the first time. My understanding is that you're doing some sort of kind of live payroll test between now and then to validate the system, make sure everything goes smoothly. Can you explain how that's going to work?
So with our old system, we only had one shot of running pay calc. But now that we have this modern system, we can take the data we have and run it now to see like what does pay look like based on 1 week's time. So as we continue to get time, we'll continue to test that to see when does payroll look similar to the prior pay period to help us ensure that we have 80 hours for everybody. We've included everybody. We're trying to catch as many potential employees who doesn't have time in the system before that time, but we actually have until next Tuesday to run that pay calc. We will close payroll early because of the 4th of July holiday.
Okay, so if you're an employee and you're listening to this and you haven't logged into Workday and you haven't registered your hours, do that now and don't forget to hit submit.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, I'll echo Janice and say thank you to the three of you. You've done tremendous work over the last 3 weeks, especially to, improve or increase opportunities for people to engage in change management activities, including the sort of organization-wide effort that was made a couple weeks ago to get people through one-day training. I know that our labor partners really appreciate all the work that you've done to reconcile reports and to chase down, loose ends and to help make sure that all of the system reflects all of the additional paper that had to be processed in order to get everything up to date so we could run our first payroll on the 8th. So we're all excited to see how well it goes and glad that Hypercare is there to, pick up anything that falls through the cracks. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And so I'll move to emergency management. Soraya, if you want to come up to the podium, please. As you know, we've been working very closely with Cal OES and FEMA on just asking for federal funds to support the Palisades recovery and then the resiliency of the system. And so, see, you want to give a brief update and I can add to it?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Good morning. I'm happy to report that we submitted our final figures on our recovery public assistance and the hazard mitigation to FEMA last week. Want to just really calibrate expectations here, that this is the first time that LAWP has ever undergone such a recovery effort, a reimbursement effort from FEMA. So we have no context for it, and we've been truly navigating uncharted waters with FEMA and FEMA with us, and we've also been helping the city families do the same. It was a significant reimbursement cost, and so I'm going to share that with you. From a public assistance perspective, just in the Palisades area, we submitted a total of 69 projects totaling over $1 billion. Of those projects, basically they include pole replacement and undergrounding, replacement of transformer equipment, replacement of communications equipment, water quality testing, just to name a few. Those are just the top line. On the hazard mitigation grant program, we submitted 34 projects service territory-wide, nearing $2.5 billion. Covering those projects include undergrounding, seismic retrofitting for various infrastructure, and enhanced alert and warning system, just among other projects. Where are we and what are the next steps? For public assistance, we have FEMA site visits over the next 3 weeks, starting next week, where FEMA inspectors will come, meet with our subject matter experts, and try to get a really good understanding of what our project's about, whether or not they qualify for FEMA reimbursement or not. We will be submitting very detailed narratives as a result of those FEMA inspections, along with cost estimates. And then FEMA will obviously review all of the documents and then decide which projects they will approve for funding. Whatever is not approved for funding and denied by FEMA will then get automatically moved over into the hazard mitigation bucket, and then we will attempt to get reimbursement from there, in addition to the projects that we've already submitted under the hazard mitigation grant program. So currently, under that hazard grant mitigation program, there's only $1.4 billion available, and that is
for all applicants.
Correct. So once the state has a better idea of what FEMA has denied, then they will reassess, and there is a very strong opportunity that the funding could range anywhere from $3 to $5 billion. We are currently working very, very closely.
Right, $3 to $5 billion coming out of where?
From the state funding.
I mean, the ones with the multi-billion-dollar deficit.
Those are dollars that would be earmarked, that will be help supported by FEMA. Given the uncertainty right now of the current administration and the intent for FEMA, we're not sure where those dollars are going to come. The dollars have been committed. That is what we know for certain.
It doesn't seem to mean much to this administration. So as we were looking at the projects, some of our clean power projects have lost funding, and that was committed also. So we could very much be on the hook. Are we submitting through the city for DWP? I know we had an RFP on the street. Is that still out?
Well, the way that CalOES and the process work through the city of LA is we have to go through the CAS office. But we are working very closely with CalOES and FEMA to make sure that we're submitted everything in the most accurate way to have a high chance of success. Through the RFP, we had an RFP out. We're also working with the contractors that have been assigned by the city to do this work. So they have AECOM, they have Haggerty, and they have IEM. I am working with FEMA. So we haven't stopped doing the work while we're doing the RFP for us. Because the RFP really is for processing the documentation, which is the hardest part of a FEMA reimbursement process. And it takes a lot of resources and time.
And a lot of experience to get through it. I mean, my concern continues to be that if it goes through the city, they're going to take a handling fee or whatever it is, a processing fee out of whatever we need, because, I mean, most of the damage, most of the recovery is within the scope of the DWP. The city's got its own budget problems, but I would hope that they would not try and solve them on the back of the needs of the department in offsetting what this disaster has done to all of our constituents.
Yeah, my experience with FEMA dollars is they're very specific to the agency that gets it, and there's a lot of oversight from the federal government and the state government on this. So hopefully the QA/QC of that process is, and it's not based on the city, it's the state that brings that oversight to us. So we will have some benefit from that.
And an audit will take place, shortly thereafter to ensure that the funds were given to where they were committed.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a long process, but it's a process that we are committed to taking on, and just for the sake of. We submitted this on June 16 when we went live with Workday. So we had two major projects going on the same day and working towards getting all on time. And it required not just OEM, but everybody in this executive leadership team had to submit projects with costs. And the number one requirement is our cost benefit analysis, our cost effectiveness. And the team has been working very closely with CalOES on making those calculations to make sure that we're calculating our cost benefit analysis correctly.
Yeah,
I have massive respect for CalOES, having worked with them in the past on a lot of different things. I'm more nervous about the city trying to shift or reallocate or assign other costs because they have their own problems to solve, and I want to make sure that we get what we need for the constituents of DWP first, and then whatever's left over, we're happy to share with the city, but we got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, and we have good people getting this process through.
Yeah, and in all fairness, we are working hand in hand with the city. We are strategically working hand in hand with CalOES as well. And we have a direct line of communication and contact, and they are very committed to helping us be successful. So we're working both in parallel.
I appreciate that. Some of us have a lot more experience working with the city than you all do, and probably don't have the same level of trust that it's going to be done in the right way, having been through it before and having watched it before. So that's my concern.
We are exercising cautious optimism, but we have also built safeguards in place to ensure that our customers, first and foremost, get the funding that it's been designated for us to get.
And we have you. Richard, we have you.
And we'll call you in.
When I find out
Yes.
about it, yeah.
We got Tim. Huh? We got Tim.
And
Well,
Tim.
now we have Tim. It's all up to Tim, so.
It's all up to Tim. Sure, those fun
Welcome, new guy. No.
So before you go, I also want to give an update on the civil unrest on downtown, our rates in the last couple of weeks, as we had to cancel the last board meeting, and it was a very dynamic couple of weeks here in downtown. We took proactive measures to keep our employees safe, and that whole week, our employees worked from home, but our OEM organization and all of our operational organizations were working daily. And so do you want to give a brief update of what we did during the civil unrest?
Sure. So we immediately convened an executive crisis management team, which also included some of our directors from our security services, from our human resources team, obviously from our operational, both water and power, Office of Emergency Management. And we convened on day one. We were convening 2 times a day. The Office of Emergency Management, along with our security and our operations personnel, were monitoring literally 24/7 and in constant communications. As a result of that, we felt very confident that we had real-time information coming in at all times, allowing the crisis management team to make really sound decisions. We were also very connected and in close communication with emergency management department at the city, and working very closely with our, PD partners as well as Cal OES. We were sending communications and update bulletins to our employees twice a day. And we were making real game time decisions on how safe or not the situation was downtown to bring in, call in our employees to work. At no time during that time did we feel that it was sufficiently safe. So we made the decision to encourage folks to work from home where possible. I am very happy to report that our operations did not suffer any disruptions. We had no safety issues. We did have some facility tagging that was done, if you will, but that is a facility that it has ongoing situations with tagging. We do not believe that it was related to the process whatsoever. LAPD was incredible in supporting our downtown facilities and our personnel, and were, ready and on the ready to escort our water or power crews whenever needed. It was not needed. So, we were able to bring everybody back to work on the following Monday.
So I just want to also thank our water and power crews, because as many of our employees on JFB were working from home, our crews were working on site, and like Soraya mentioned, we had LAPD escorts as needed, and we had duty 24/7. So sometimes it goes untold, but even when it's a tough day for everybody, our crews are always on the job. So I want to acknowledge them publicly. They don't always get that, but they were on the job 24/7. So I want to thank them. I also want to say this is really unprecedented for us in downtown LA and what's going on in today's climate, and it's impacting some of our employees in different ways. With emotional, it's impacting some of their family members, and so I just want to thank our employees for their empathy and compassion for other employees in our communities, and just remind everybody that we have EAP and other services to support them through these difficult times, because it's been challenging for all of us. Thank you, Soraya.
My pleasure.
Now to the good news.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. I'm happy to report that the department was awarded the 2025 Veterans Employer of the Year for the government or public sector by the California Employer Advisory Council. They recognize our commitment to equal opportunity, and Vice President McGraw, you're talking about diversity. There's a lot of diversity on my last talking points, but this one is important too. We just created our Valor ERG. They were part of the ceremony. And so I was able to receive the award on behalf of the department alongside our Valor Employee Resource Group, and they're doing an amazing job. We have over 200 members, and they started the ERG last November. So it's been an incredible accomplishment. I also want to acknowledge Juneteenth, which was last Thursday, and that's a observed holiday in the city of LA, which is a defining chapter in American history. As you know, on June 19 of 1865, more than 2 years after the President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, 250,000 enslaved African Americans in Galveston learned that they were free for the last 2 years. So it's just a very important holiday and one that we need to use as remembering our history and make sure that that doesn't repeat itself. And lastly, I want to acknowledge the Pride event. Like you mentioned, it was an amazing event, and I can't add any more beautiful words than you did, but I do have a video to share, so let's get the video. Maybe that will placate your words.
So right now we're at the corner of Highland and Sunset. We're standing by getting ready to start the 2025 LA Pride Parade. We're really excited for the parade this year. With everything going on in the world and specifically in Los Angeles, it's time to step up, stand up, and be proud. And LEDWP, we're proud.
Pride represents the best of us. The most diverse people coming together as a single unit in hope to fight for justice. And I think at DWP, we also try to embody those same values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The more diverse we are, the more we come together, the more strength we build. And we've been able to accomplish something as the nation's largest municipal utility that no one else has. And I think that's really at the heart of it.
It is important for LADWP to be at the LA Pride Parade because we support all our coworkers, and it is important that the diversity that we have in the department outshines in days like today. LADWP is sending a very strong message that diversity matters and that we're committed to diversity through and through.
We have a culture of inclusion that we want to extend to every member of our community, and we want to make sure that everyone, including our own employees, understand that their support is absolutely priority for us and that we need to be present for each other and to have representation in every aspect of the city of Los Angeles.
Pride to me is being your true self, just accepting yourself for who you are, getting out there, being a little weird, being a little quirky, being you. It's all about being you.
Pride in one word to me is love, amor.
Resistance, joy,
love,
inclusivity.
Pride means unity.
Joy,
support, love, inclusivity. Woo!
Resistance.
Serve. Serving pride and the city of Los Angeles.
Woo!
NURIT's leggings were the real star of
Yes.
the video.
If you're gonna go rainbow, go rainbow.
Go big.
Yeah, it really was a beautiful day. And I just want to add to what I said before. Besides the joy and expression from our own employees, what was so special was the love that was being yelled and shared from our customers. We did have a couple people say, something about the rates, which is understandable, but a lot of people really were just thanking our employees for everything that they do. We had people yelling, "Thank you for the water," and "Thank you for providing this service to Los Angeles." And that was just really encouraging and I think really helpful for our employees because we don't always, we got a lot of hardworking people, as you were sharing, who are working around the clock and they don't always have that moment to get that gratitude from the community. So that was really special to see and just a really beautiful day. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll end it by saying, it was the start of the civil unrest, and I think a lot of people were concerned about going to the Pride Parade as things were going downtown. But it was like we were living in two different worlds. It was a lot of love, happiness, lightness on the Pride Parade, while there was some civil unrest downtown. And so I was very grateful to have a break from that heavy stuff. So
Exactly. And speaking of the civil unrest, I just want to acknowledge we did end up needing to have a special board meeting on Juneteenth, which we did not take lightly. And although we made comments that day as commissioners, I just want to echo them here today, that that holiday is extremely important to us and a very important part of our history that we want to acknowledge and remember and celebrate freedom as much as we celebrate love and pride. There were some public members who came and commented with concern about us holding it on that holiday. And so I just want to be clear that it was required by the council recess in order to move things forward, and that everything that we approved in that smaller special meeting had already been presented in a broader public meeting at the budget presentations previously. So the only reason for that meeting was just to get the necessary approvals before council goes on recess. So I just wanted to say that kind of on the record and make sure that's clear to everyone. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
And sorry, and it was due to the reason I said, you know, speaking of the unrest, the cancellation of our prior public meeting was due to the emergency, you know, conditions that were happening here, and that's what necessitated that special meeting.
Al?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice video. Well done.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun.
Tim, you're up.
Great, thank you. I don't have any items at this point to discuss specifically, as this is my first meeting.
Right.
There are, of course, some items that the team has been putting together through some review of past material from the office, but also going forward, work that we would advise the commission and the commissioners to take into account as we embark on what is going to be an ambitious year over the next 12 to 18 months, if we're looking at review of rates and the expenditures associated with that. So we will be preparing a set of recommendations for the commissioners to consider and for the department as it undergoes some of its rate-making activities in terms of establishing revenue requirements and performing cost of service studies, and including the transparency and the way in which the public can access that information, both the physical information, but the way to make that information understandable. As part of that, we'll also be embarking on a rework of the public-facing information from the Office of Public Accountability as it relates to its website and the access of information to ensure that individuals have the ability to gain additional insight into how rates are set, how individual bills are set, and for opportunities to communicate with the Ratepayer Advocate's Office around issues they may be facing or that they'd like to see examined by the Ratepayer Advocate's Office going forward as part of its city chartered responsibilities. So at this point, I don't have any items on any specific board matters, but just want to provide that update that we've already begun and that we will be preparing some additional information both for consideration by the board at a future meeting, as well as some information for the public as it relates to the items that the Ratepayer Advocate's Office focuses on.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Glad to have you aboard.
Great, thank you.
Look forward to working with you. And particularly suggestions on how we can do a better job of communicating to the public and the public-facing piece, as well as how people get involved, all things that I think we look forward to working on. So,
thank you.
Thanks. All right, moving on. Where are we now? Management reports. Anybody got any management reports that we haven't had
I think there are
already?
none scheduled today.
Okay. Moving on to items recommended for approval. There's, of the items on the agenda, I would like to ask that items J3, N5, N10, and N2 if I could get just some quick comments from whoever identifies with those items before we vote them all, I would appreciate it.
Can you repeat those numbers for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
J3, N5, N10, and N2.
J3.
J3, N5, N10, N2.
For item J3, can we have Dr. Helm or Catherine Rubin come forward?
Great. And anybody who has bingo after that, just holler it and we'll move along. But yeah, what I'm looking for in this, hi Catherine, just to get an idea of the magnitude, for instance, J3 is a report on the payment of fines and penalties for environmental violations in the first quarter. What's the scope we're dealing with and that kind of thing is what you could explain to us briefly.
Okay, so for this quarter, we paid 2 fines for the Lincoln Heights Center for just record keeping. And actually, we had sent the records to them. We weren't able to show them some inspection records when they were there at the facility, so they fined us for that. But everything else, we were able to show them the evidence that we had done, the work that was requested. However, since we did have a few issues,
right,
they fined us. So we're doing very well in compliance.
Well, I'm
as
sure
you
we
can
are.
see.
I just want to make sure that we have a sense of, in terms of fines, what kind of money are we talking about here?
For here, $2,400.
Insignificant in everything else we do, but I appreciate your point, and that's all I'm looking for. So I just trying to get an idea of the scope that we deal with here. So
Yeah, for this quarter, it was $1,200 per fine, around there.
okay,
And it came out to just a little over $2,400.
right.
So, from quarter to quarter, it changes depending upon the fine. But for right now, we're doing very well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
N5, who's got N5? Oh, Ann?
I have N5. N5 is a request to approve our natural gas volume for hedging purposes.
Right.
So proposed is our estimated volume for fiscal years 26, 27 through 30, 31. We already have our budget in place for 25, 26. This isn't a request for dollars per se. It's really more allowing us to use these volumes to put our hedging program in place. We do a stair-step approach. So for the next year, we'll have 50% of our estimated gas burn hedged, and then we'll stair-step that down to 40, 30, 20, 10.
Great. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Ann, I'm sorry. How about N10? Who's got N10?
That'd be me. So I'll ask Nurmina to come join us. This is a renewal of the Arizona Nuclear Power Project, mainly a revision in the way we estimate the O&M costs. But I'll let Nurmina talk more intelligently about this.
Okay. You can answer any question, or we have a presentation slides that can provide a brief background.
Okay, let's do the slide and then we'll go from there. As it says in the short, our ownership in this is minimal. Would be one way to describe it, I guess.
Yes, this particular amendment is shared between co-owners of the switchyard. That includes Arizona Public Service Company, El Paso Electric Company, Public Service Company of New Mexico, Edison, SCAPA, and SRP, Salt River Project, including LADWP. So we share ownership, 6.85% of that switchyard. This particular amendment for that agreement is only addressing clarification on some of the variables that are being used to calculate the costs or responsibility to upgrade some of the equipment. So it's just and reference to the Appendix A, Exhibit 1, and some of the variables that go into the calculations of the costs. So it does not have any implications, financial implications or changes to the agreement.
All righty. Questions by anybody?
Do you want to see the PowerPoint?
Yeah,
or?
I would like to.
Yeah, next slide. All right, so this basically describes what the agreement was previously, and it still is. The ownership has not changed among the participants, but this describes who the participants are, the switchyard itself. The AMPP switchyard consists of the Palo Verde 500 kV switchyard and the adjoining Hacienda switchyard, the Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District. Its SRP is the designated operating agent of the AMPP switchyard. The AMPP switchyard participants consist of Arizona Public Service Company, APS, El Paso Electric Company, Public Service Company of New Mexico, SRP, Southern California Public Power Authority, Southern California Edison Company, and Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. As an AMPP switchyard participant, LADWP has a 3.2% ownership share of the AMPP switchyard, and through SCAPA's ownership share of 5.44%. LADWP has 67% of that, giving LADWP an estimated total of 6.85% ownership shares in the AMPP switchyard. So the AMPP switchyard interconnection agreement, the original agreement, is between the AMPP switchyard participants and the Palo Verde Delaney Sun Valley participants. The original agreement that allowed the Delaney participants to interconnect to that switchyard, the 500 kV transmission line. What this amended and restated agreement does is that it revises the methodology for calculating the cost responsibility of the operation and maintenance, including the insurance coverage and capital improvements for the interconnection by directly referencing Appendix A, Exhibit 1, and Exhibit 6 for calculation of the cost responsibility ratio and inclusion of critical energy electric infrastructure information clause. There's been no change to the cost responsibility ratio. There's no financial impact to LADWP. Basically, the language itself, nothing's changed in the exhibits except for the inclusion of that CEII language. It just references Exhibit 1, Exhibit 6, and Appendix A in the language, which wasn't there previously. It's just something legal felt had to be included in the language. But the exhibits were always there. They just reference it directly now.
My apologies. Can you both introduce yourselves, please?
I apologize. I'm Ermina Rucic-O'Neill, Director of Power System Planning.
My name is Kyle Fgadner. I'm the electrical engineer with Power System Planning, Joint Transmission Management.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
N2 is yours, Joe?
Yes, N2, we have David Jaco and Samer Fakro from Distributed Energy Solutions to answer any questions you might have. Or present the item if you'd prefer.
Who called this one?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Gentlemen.
Not on this item.
You need the slides for N2.
Or, yeah, sorry. There we go.
You didn't
Good morning, Commissioners, Vice President, Board President. I'm David Jaco, Director of Distributed Energy Solutions, and joining me is Samer Fakro, works over our Distributed Energy Resource Program Development. And he'll be giving the presentation on this particular item, but we're happy to answer any and all questions you have. On the expansion of our FIT Plus pilot, which FIT is the feed-in tariff program, Plus is an added requirement for storage, and this is an expansion of the FIT Plus program proposed for your consideration.
Okay, use this to move it. Did I turn it off?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Samer Fakro. I'm the Supervisor of DER Programs and Project Development. I'll give a brief presentation on our proposed FIT Plus expansion. As David mentioned, FIT Plus is an extension of FIT. So FIT Plus is a pilot program. Only difference between FIT and FIT Plus is it requires a battery and it's competitively bid rather than the standard offer for FIT. So I'll talk about the overview and the status of the program and how it's looking like today, and the expansion as well as the increased interconnection cost reimbursements. So this is what FIT Plus is today. And this is kind of an overview of how it works. Participants would submit a proposal to LEDWP with via a competitive process. So we look at things like, obviously mainly is the price and some other factors. And as we mentioned before, it's PV paired with battery energy storage. We want that resiliency component, and so that's why we added it. Energy sold to the department through it's kind of like a micro PPA. It's a smaller system, so we don't call it a PPA. And this program is really important because it contributes to DWP's renewable portfolio standard, and it helps us meet our LA 100 targets. It expands our geographic diversity. Rather than having all our solar out in the desert, we bring some in basin, which the LA 100 emphasized. So that's what we're doing here. And the battery component, very important, is the time shift. We want energy available during the solar ramp. And so that's what we're going to be presenting today. And these give us bucket 1 RECs, so that's what helps meet our RPS goals. So where are we at with FIT Plus? In its current state, it was approved by this board in 2021, so we've had about a little over 4 years to figure out the kinks and figure out why folks aren't really subscribing to it. There were a few developers that submitted various projects, but they went back and looked at their economics, the cost of the battery being the biggest one, and they decided to pull their applications. So what we're doing is that we're expanding the territory that folks can apply FIT Plus to, because previously it was 4.8 kV zones, so that really limited the portfolio that developers could install at. So this is the proposed expansion. What we want to do is we want to allocate 25 megawatts from a previous board resolution, 23199. Which gave us approval to, I think it was 275 megawatts or something of that nature for the regular feed-in tariff program. So we want to just allocate those megawatts from that program to the feed-in tariff plus program. What we want to do is we want to expand the scope and the eligibility. So as it is now, there's only 4.8 kV feeders that are eligible locations for projects. What we do is we'd expand the 4.8 kV map. And we'd also include 34.5 kV, certain feeders under 5 megawatts for 34.5, and then over 5 megawatt projects, we'd open up all 34.5 kV circuits. And then the last addition we'd have is the increased interconnection reimbursements, and we have a provision there for an added interconnection reimbursement if the project is in a disadvantaged community. So there's the interconnection reimbursements that we're proposing. For 34.5, we're proposing $400,000. And for 4.8, I believe it stays the same at $100,000. We won a $48 million grant a couple of years ago from the DOE, and part of that grant was if projects were in a DAC, we would give them an additional incentive or additional reimbursement on top of what they'd already get. So if the project's in a DAC, they'd get $50K more for 4.8 and 34.5. Obviously, you guys know that the current political climate is a little hazy, so it's unclear whether or not the current administration will change their requirements for whether or not a project is in a DAC, whether we can give them additional money. But as it stands now, it sounds like we're okay to do that.
And we're monitoring that closely. So yes. If we find out that those added funds are in danger, then of course we'll preemptively retract that portion of it. It's not a huge amount. We're still prepared to offer with department funding up to $400,000. So we're looking at a $50,000 impact on what had been $400,000, what would have been $450,000, if we see that it looks likely that the federal funding is going to get pulled back. So it's not the end of the world for these projects.
Right. Thank you.
You feel like in the new offerings, for lack of a better word, you've addressed what was deficient in the previous round where folks pulled out?
Yeah, we spoke to the developers that pulled their applications. Their biggest concern was that it was, and I'll talk about it in the next slide, was in its current state, the feed-in tariff plus program is only available in these 4.8 kV, the orange that you see there, so that's very limited. So one of their complaints was that they couldn't really build where they wanted to build or where there was availability. The second was that, and there's a lot of issues that they brought up, but the interconnection reimbursement wasn't big enough to really cover their costs to interconnect.
And how did we select those other circuits? Was it based on capacity constraints on those areas?
Yeah, we talked to the stakeholders for distribution, and they identified these circuits as that they'll allow hosting capacity essentially for the solar and energy storage. So this is what they came up with.
So these additional blue circuits are only 4.8 kV?
Correct.
And then it's all of our other 34.5 on top of that?
Yeah, for certain projects, it's going to be all of the 34.5. So over 5 megawatts, all of 34.5. But if it's under 5 megawatts, I'll show you the next slide. And we
volumetrically, what does this mean in terms of how much flexibility we've painted into the system with these new 4.8 kV circuits? So, or these feeders. So is this like 3 times the size of the original proposed geographic sort of area that we were servicing before, or it looks sort of roughly to be that?
Yeah, I don't know what the original feeders amounted out to. And right now, as you can see, it's 317, but it was pretty substantial. I don't have the exact number for how much it increased, though.
So basically, we listened to these contractors that pulled these projects back, and we gave them additional geographic flexibility, and we sweetened the deal by covering more of their interconnection fees to make it easier for them to say yes.
And we added the 34.5, which wasn't there.
So they can
but that gives them that geographic flexibility.
And also the ability to do much larger projects.
Yeah.
So they can get economies of scale.
They can get economy of scale, sure.
Yeah, the current 4.8 is limited at 500 kilowatts, I think, and, most developers aren't really interested in that scale. They want something bigger.
Okay.
So the next map that's shown here is we wanted to introduce more 34.5 kV circuits, not more, but we wanted to introduce 34.5 kV circuits for those projects under 5 megawatts. So these are the circuits that the stakeholders identified would really benefit from increased solar energy storage, increased hosting capacity for 34.5 projects under 5 megawatts. Let me go back. And then as I mentioned before, the rest of the 34.5 is just open to anyone over 5 megawatts. So if anyone's interested in that, then that's certainly available to them. So, I mean, it's all iterative with program development. We're kind of conservative in the beginning when we put out a program because we don't want to lose the farm. This is our kind of our second iteration, kind of listening to the feedback from the developers, and we're going to see where it goes. It's competitively bid, as I mentioned before, so we'll kind of see what the developers put in as their proposals, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and keep a pulse on it. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck with it this round. When will you know how, when are you getting feedback from the developer?
So we don't have to, I don't think we have to go to city council for this one, so we'd like to put it out, I want to say in a short amount of time, maybe a couple of months. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I mean, provided it's approved today, we'll look to start getting it out in the next month or two.
Great.
And see what feedback we get.
I'm sure we can take care of the today part. Good luck with you guys. So,
thank you.
All right. Thanks for the explanation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions right away? No?
No.
Okay. Thank you much. Let's see, while we're
Thank you.
cleaning up some work here.
I did have a comment I wanted to make. I don't think I need to call it special, but just in case anyone had concerns on item number 1, I wanted to clarify that the adjustments that are being made are based on federal poverty levels and not, they don't reflect a change to this program.
Correct.
Yes.
That is true. Okay.
I had a quick question for Dan Ashelman or whoever's here for N3.
And 3. Do you have anybody from?
Do we have anyone here for N3?
There's someone running to the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're out in the holding pen?
Yes. Emmanuel Sandoval, Corporate Safety.
Nice to meet you. I was looking over the training certifications for this, and they seem pretty basic, things like CPR, crane, operation, safety, that sort of stuff. Is there an effort to bring these programs in-house through like a train-the-trainer model or something else? I mean, some of these seem so basic to what we do every day that it seems strange to me that we're outsourcing training on things like CPR and first aid.
Sure.
When we have such a giant operation.
Yeah, a lot of these classes are used in the volume that to have the staff to meet those needs is quite a challenge. So we do offer the employees the ability to receive the training to give it out. If they turn that down, then we can go out to the contractor to do it first. But they come in such volume that the contractor really has the staff to meet the needs of the department. So like the CPR, we're probably doing about 10 a week.
Can I jump in on this also and help answer your question? So years ago, we used to have the train-the-trainer model specifically for CPR. So this a lot that speaks to the qualified electrical worker refresher course that we have to have. So if our employees don't have annual CPR refresher, they're not technically QEW.
Right.
So the volume that he's speaking about for these QEW classes, they're 24/7 practically all around the clock. So that would pull so many of our high-hazard qualified workers out of the field and make them full-time trainers. It starts to pull on resources that we need in the field. So we shifted into NATEC a few years ago.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
And I think for your question, Vice President McGraw, we are actually working with the safety organization on a safety management system program to look at what is the best practices from a safety culture perspective, and then onboarding as much training as we can in the department versus what's better to outsource based on qualifications, criteria, volume, and availability of personnel. But we're very aligned with JSTI also on bringing in training that's piloted there and then bringing it into the department. Right now, we're doing the energy wheel that's coming in, the HACLA training, and we're working on the loading for loads, and we had two safety incidents in the past and the recent present that we're really evaluating our training and making sure that we're getting better at that.
Yeah, I think, we've been talking a lot about hiring and personnel challenges and making sure we're staffing up. And I think that safety is an area that should be, we should pay close attention to, perhaps there are staffing we could add that are safety specialists that would not take away from the staffing, in power, in high voltage, but that's their dedicated focus. So I think it'd be worth considering whether there is more we could do in-house with the right hiring and the right approach and the right, transition for that.
Yeah, and during this process, and Ann can attest to it, we looked at our APR and ensured that all our critical hiring needs were approved for this year.
Great.
And safety was part of that. And so also the systems want to have ownership on the safety aspect of it. So there's a fine line between what's on safety and what's on the operational unit, but they have to work very in conjunction in a metrics operation. So Dan has the corporate safety, and he works with the safety organizations and the functions, and then we're trying to get the safety management system as an enterprise strategy.
Great, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, moving along. Let's see, filed items, items J1 through 8. A motion on that, please?
I think no motion.
Do we need a motion?
No.
No, okay.
Approval of the minutes in K, 1 and 2.
Motion to approve items K1 and 2.
Second?
Second, moved and second without objection. 3 aye votes. Let's see, what else we got here? N1, we need to approve.
Yeah, I think we can do it as a block now, correct? There's no other items pulled special. So I'll make a motion to approve items N1 through 18.
Second.
Without objection, motion and second on items 1 through 18. 3 aye votes, the motion passes. Shantae, Neighborhood Council.
Yeah, there were 3 community impact statements received from Northwest Neighborhood Council. No representatives from this neighborhood council spoke or arrived to speak. And the community impact statements were published on LADWP.com for public record and were included in the commissioner's briefing materials.
Thank you.
Both for 1 and 2?
I'm sorry?
Both for M1 and 2?
Yes. Well, there's 3 of them, but yes.
Right, I lost the third one, but, all right, we got that, the minutes we've moved?
Yes.
We're all good?
Yep. Okay, so we're all caught up, and Ben, it's your turn to shine.
Yep. The board shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with section 54957.1 of the California Government Code.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll adjourn to executive session.
All right.
Thank you all for coming.
geração que teve o privilégio de conviver com tão jovens no Brasil e no mundo.
Okay, President Katz.
Okay, we're back from closed session.
Yes, we're going to report pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.1 of the actions taken by the board with respect to closed session items 01 and 02. 01 is Robert Vallis v. LADWP, claim number 2022-0699, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board case number ADJ 164-12684. That settlement is a workers' compensation claim for the amount of $122,742.50, and the board approved that by 3 votes.
Approved it or rejected that?
Approved it.
We approved the workers' comp.
Oh, the workers' comp one,
Yes.
yeah.
With respect to closed session item 02, which is Eva Nydia Gonzalez Reyes v. LADWP, Los Angeles Superior Court case number 24 STCV 29966. This is a case that was filed regarding a motor vehicle accident that occurred on January 24th, 2024. The department received a Code of Civil Procedure Section 998 offer from the plaintiff for $20 million, and the board has rejected that offer. And those are the 2 closed session items.
Great.
I think we're adjourned.
Anything else?
Okay,
Then we're adjourned.
thank you very much.
Thank you.